So it's been about 9 months since the release of ChatGPT. And honestly, that sent shockwaves through the markets of like everybody who writes for a living, who relies on writing as part of making a living, and especially for those of us who are copywriters who have made our living writing marketing for, various lengths of time, depending on our careers, right? And 9 months is also long enough that we can really get a sense of how this is impacting the markets, how this has impacted the markets. And I think there's a lot of people out there who are looping it into their pitches to basically try to get you to buy their programs by saying that you got to learn AI in order to be successful as a copywriter going forward. There's also a lot of people who say it's all overhyped and it's not having, nor will it have the impact that a lot of people have claimed. And so, forget about it because you can't write really good copy with AI. And so today I want to just, I want to find myself in the middle of that argument and share what I see as the truth about AI copywriting. So let's start with the hype. And there's a lot of hype about AI copywriting. The hype that's out there is that AI is replacing copywriters, that it will replace copywriters, that it is replacing copywriters, that it's going to keep replacing copywriters, and the sheer act or skill of writing is becoming irrelevant because why would you even need to learn how to write if AI can do all the writing for you? And I've noticed in 2023 that there are a lot of people who, presumably based on their behavior, believe this, because I see people who are no longer investing in themselves and their skills, in their copywriting careers, in developing themselves as a professional copywriter because of AI. Right? Basically, they see this obstacle and they're throwing in the towel. And honestly, like, life will test you. Life will throw obstacles in your face. And good riddance if you're the type of person who throws in the towel when AI or any other obstacle starts to scare you because, maybe you don't deserve to be in this spot. Maybe this is not the place for you if you can't stand the competition from a little robot, right? I'm just calling it like I see it here, but there's a lot of hype around this, and I know that hype has led to a lot of people questioning, their whole direction in life around choosing copywriting as a skill, as a career. So one lens through which we can look at this is just how I'm using AI on my latest project. And so I'm getting into a project with a financial publisher. This is, a stock promotion type promo, and I'm writing a substantial piece of direct response copy. And this is the type of project that I've done for years. I've been in that industry since 2010. I've written long form financial copy since 2008 or 2009. Well, earlier than that. And so this is the type of project that I'm pretty familiar with. And here's how I'm using AI on my latest project. Mostly, I'm not using AI on this latest project. I'm messing around with it a little bit for some prospect research. I'm using it to summarize articles. There may be some other ways that I use it along the way just to kind of bounce some ideas around, right? As maybe a brainstorm partner, right? But I'm not using AI on this project. When it comes to a lot of copy that has to go out there in these more competitive industries in particular, number one, compliance is a huge issue. And AI just makes stuff up. AI literally just makes up stuff and makes it sound good. I can't have that if my stuff has to run through compliance. Number two, AI struggles to come up with any more compelling ideas than I give it. Yeah, it's going to give me a bunch of generic ideas, right? But it's not going to come out of left field with that idea that's going to, shake the market. And so I can't I can't use AI to try and create this big market shaking promotion, right? Because that's not how generative AI works. That's not how large language models work. They're designed to give you an average of the inputs that they have. And sometimes they can surprise you. Sometimes they can be creative, and that's why it works great as a brainstorming partner, right? But I can't lean on this for pretty much any of the copy that is going to go out in the marketplace. I cannot lean on AI for it. And that kind of reflects where we're at with AI right now, especially when it comes to more competitive and compliance heavy markets. Now, the current truth about AI copywriting is a little bit more nuanced than that, but honestly, it's kind of a lipstick on a pig thing, right? Like, yeah, it's kind of like this pretty and this exciting thing, right? It's been fancied up to feel like it's something really special. And maybe on some levels, in some contexts, it is pretty special. But honestly, like, for the most part, it's not that useful. It is not that useful for the kind of high-level copywriting work that I'm used to doing. Okay. What you'll find is that great copywriters get great output. And I have to give credit to Daniel Throssell for how clearly he presented this a few weeks ago, something. He pointed out that, yeah, there are some people who are getting great output with ChatGPT, with AI writing tools. But the trick here is that they're taking a lot of great input that they're able to use from their own previous writing in most cases, and say, model that with these small changes, basically. And to some degree, I suppose that's something that, the average rookie, given some of these prompts that they create, is able to do, right? But it's like you don't know what you're dealing with there, right? Just because you can stand in front of a nuclear reactor and press some buttons doesn't mean you know how to create nuclear energy, right? Just because you can copy and paste some prompts doesn't mean that you actually understand how to generate great output from the from the tools that are available. And when you're doing it and you get some good results initially, it can be reinforcing that, okay, this is going to change everything, right? But the further you get away from those fundamental copywriting skills that led to the input that is getting good output, the less likely it is that anything that you get out of the tools is going to be anything that's really powerful. And so what that points back to is that you still need to be a great copywriter. Even if you use this, even if you start to lean on this as a powerful tool, you still need the fundamental copywriting and marketing knowledge, skills, ability, principles, strategy in order to make the most of it, right? And in certain contexts, it becomes pretty useful to use these tools. One place that I really do like to use the tools is market research. Market research can be a pretty solid place to get good use out of AI copywriting tools. And by that, I mean really understanding the prospect experience. Also, generic content drafts. So you need to write a quick article about generic content. So if I wanted to write a quick article about dividend reinvestment plans, which are fairly generic in the investing space, or if I wanted to write a generic article about, I don't know, just some concept, some like dollar cost averaging or something like that, where there's a lot of content out there, and I'm just looking to create more generic content around it. Yeah, I can create drafts. I can use it as a writing assistant. I can use it to come up with ideas. I can use it to come up with a bunch of headline variations. I can use it to come up with some stories that might be a jumping off point. I can use it to come up with lots of different draft ideas, right? But ultimately, it's going to be up to me to edit those into something that is actually useful. Now, all of that to say, there is still one big warning to people who are more novice copywriters who, are quite a ways away from that great copywriter status. AI is a productivity multiplier. And so if really good copywriters are using AI, and I know quite a few who are at least, playing with it from time to time and learning to make it work pretty well for them. AI can be a productivity multiplier, meaning can come up with more leads, more headlines, more things to test, more different ideas, more angles, more advertorials, more creative, right? And can come up with it faster than just having to write it. And that can take away some opportunities from people who might otherwise try to fill in those gaps, right? It still is relying on that person to be a great copywriter, to be able to, make the most of the input and make the most of the output, right? To put the best input in and to get the best output out and to edit and adapt that output for final usage. Now, at some point in the future, AI copywriting could be very different. It could be a complete game changer. When we get to the point of what's called AGI, artificial general intelligence, as opposed to what we have now, which is very application-specific artificial intelligence. AGI, artificial general intelligence, is basically saying that computers think like humans, right? When we get there, AI maybe will change the world in some pretty dramatic ways. That's where we get into concepts like Ray Kurzweil's singularity, where we reach a point where suddenly the computers are innovating faster than, basically faster than we can imagine. And just progress goes exponential, goes vertical, essentially. And at that point, beyond that threshold, who knows? Who knows what all of this looks like? But we don't know when that's going to happen. And as much as recent developments have made that feel like it is already happening, it's not. It's not. And the more you dig in, the more you realize that, the AI tools are just kind of, they're lipstick on a pig, right? So yes, learn to use the tools today, right? Recognize that they are just tools. They're not the skills. They're not the capacity. They're not magic wands. They're not easy buttons. They're not replacements for the humans that are using them, right? They're tools. Just like going from a handsaw to a electric, saw it doesn't change, like a miter box and a little handsaw to a miter saw. Like, that's a dramatically better tool to get the job done earlier or quicker. But the carpenter still needs to be running both, right? And so learn to use the tools today and recognize that even in the long run, it will be the principles that prevail. The people who understand the principles and the strategies behind effective marketing, effective copywriting, the people who understand those and who are thinking at that level today are the people who are making the most of the tools today. And they will be the people who make the most of the tools going forward, regardless of how skilled or unskilled those tools actually are at writing complete copy. My call to action for you in this episode, ask yourself, how can you use this? How does this reframe your relationship with AI tools and your career or your work as a copywriter? Also, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get more content like this delivered to you. You can check out my link to copywriting market research with ChatGPT, which is perhaps the most consistent way that I found to use ChatGPT as a copywriter. It's part of my BTMS Insider streaming library of copywriting and marketing courses. Those links are in the description. I'm Roy Furr, this is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, and I'll catch you again in the next episode. See you soon. Bye. Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.